Greetings from the Fineness Institute of Clinical Research. Today we'll see how publication is writing is done for clinical trial results. Writing a publication for clinical trial result is a critical part of disseminating research in findings to the broader scientific and medical community. This publication typically appears in a peer-reviewed journal and follows a standardized format. So it follows a standardized format. Typically, this appears in a peer-reviewed journal and follows a standardized format to ensure clarity, transparency, and reproducibility. So, firstly, guidelines on how to structure and write a clinical trial publication. First is the title, of course, something like this. So, it has to be clear and descriptive, should summarize the main outcome or focus of the trial, mention that it is a clinical trial, is it randomized or it is double blind, etc. Abstract. So, what is an abstract? An abstract is a concise summary, typically 250 to 300 words, that provide an overview of the study. Structure it into the following sections: background, why the trial was conducted, methods, key features, design features, results is the main finding, conclusion, primary takeaway or implication. This helps readers quickly understand the study relevance. So it gives you an insight of the whole publication. Then the introduction is there. So, what is an introduction? Summarize the existing literature and the medical scientific problem that the prompted the trial. Rationale: why was this trial necessary? What gaps in knowledge did it address? Objective: state the primary and secondary objective or hypothesis for the trial. Then the methods, right? The method. So, how was it being conducted? The trial was being conducted. So, the section provide comprehensive details so that others can replicate the studies. Common subsection includes the trial design. So, basically, when you start a trial, you have to have a protocol, and when protocol, it is mentioned the trial design. So, what type of trial it is? Randomized, double blind, single blind, placebo controlled. So which phase are you doing the study? Phase one, phase two, phase three, phase four. So as you go along these phases, the number of participant increases. And then participant, what were the inclusion exclusion criteria? So inclusion exclusion are the eligibility. So like I tell all our students, so if this is hypothetically you are doing a diabetes trial, so not all diabetic patients can take part in your trial. Only the people who are part of the inclusion criteria, who fit the inclusion criteria, who have undergone test after screening, and if they match the inclusion criteria, can take part. And exclusion criteria are those patient which we don't take. So it is different for each protocol and each study. Description of patients, how they were recruited and randomized. Provide details of the study site. Sites are the places where hospitals where the clinical trial is being conducted, and geographical location. So we obviously want um, a varied geographical representation. So even in India, it is preferable. So north, south, east, west is the we try as much as possible the varied locations of the clinical trial sites can be taken. So intervention, sorry. So describes the interventions or the treatment being studies, including doses and the routes of administration, provide details of the control groups like placebo, what comparator you are using. It can be or the marketed drug or the placebo. Placebo is nothing but a sugar pill. Then outcome measure. So what outcome you want to see, the results, what kind of improvement you want to see. So the main results measured to assess the intervention effectiveness, how effective your drug which you did the trial was. Secondary, additional objective to explore side effects and other benefits. Randomization, explain how randomization was done and how blinding, if blinded, was maintained. Statistical method, decide the statistical method used to analyze the data. Method, any specified group analysis, sample size, calculation, and statistical significance threshold. So the outcome, so you can just uh, tables, listings, and figures are very well used in understanding the clinical trial research outcome. So it really helps, like this one, to understand the the outcome of a clinical trial. Results. This section presents the findings of a trial. We have a very excellent video. Just uh, recently we have done on table listings and findings. So I'll share the link somewhere in the description box or just as a pop out. You can click on it and you can go through it as well. It's very informative. And then participant flow, number of participants screened, randomized, and analyzed, dropout rate, and reason for attrition. Baseline characteristics describes the demographic and clinical characteristics of the participants at the start of the trial to ensure compatibility between groups. Primary outcome presents the results of the primary outcome measures, including effects, sizes, confidence intervals, and p-value. Use tables and figures, Kaplan-Meier curve, for survival studies to make the data easier to interpret. Like definitely tables, listings, and figures really help to understand the result. So this is an example of a result of a clinical trial. So it really helps out. Adaptive, standard, duration helps out to understand the result. Then we also mention the secondary outcome, data for secondary outcome in a similar manner, like the primary outcome. Adverse event, this is very important. So describe any adverse effects or adverse event reported during the trial, including severity, how severe, and the frequency, how often did it happen. Discussion. The discussion is where the results are interpreted in the context of a broader literature. Key elements include principal findings, summarizing the key results and how they relate to the primary objective of the trial. Comparison with existing literature, compare your finding with those of a similar trial or treatment. Discuss whether your result confirm, challenge, or add new insight to the existing knowledge. Acknowledgement. Acknowledge the contributor of if you have any collaborators, funders, and institute that help with the study, mention any conflict of interest or financial disclosure. Then funding and conflict of interest, list all sources of funding. So who all funded your clinical trial? Declare any conflict of interest related to the study, including industry ties or other relationship. So it was university funded, government funded, private investment. So you have to inform. References. Now, references. There are many ways, different types of journal-specific reference styles. So, cite relevant literature, including previous studies, methodologies, and guidelines that inform the trial design. Follow the journal-specific references, for example, Vancouver or AMA. Supplement material if needed. You may need to provide additional tables, figures, or detailed data analysis as supplementary material. So, like this, you mentioned editor, your title, place, publisher. So, what is the best practice when when you're doing your publication for your clinical trial results? Adhere to concert guidelines. These are outlines the essential details to be reported in trials. Clear and precise language. Avoid jargons and ensure that the paper is accessible to readers without extensive technical background, so it is understood by everybody. Peer review journal. Choose an appropriate journal for publication. Journal specializing in clinical trials, drug development, and a specific medical condition treated in your trials are good targets. Ethics and compliance. Ensure you mention that your trials adhere to the Declaration of Helsinki and was approved by the Institutional Review Board or Ethics Committee. Mention registration details like clinicaltrial.gov or CTRI in India. So we have a course on medical writing and regulatory affairs, and if all details for that are present on our website, that is www.finennessinstitute.com. Thank you for listening. Do follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so already for more such free informative details.